From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big morning, live of Mornings LA with incredible great news direct from Santa Monica, California about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's great news, we go over that incredible recon that will get passed in the Senate, arriving from the House. But a new push underway to get a stimulus check out sooner than even that. It's called CR for Stimulus, and I go over all the incredible details you're only going to hear on this recording, only on this channel, and it's live. Then we'll be turning to the big provisions of this incredible recon, how many checks, how much money, everything you need to know across the board. We're going to go over the incredible Build Back Better Act that is now in the Senate from the House and the big money at issue. The House has passed it, and the Senate will pass it as well. Adding in an MSC, says the legislators, on top of the existing $15,000 of checks in this incredible recon. And the third stimulus being repeated in fourth stimulus of $45,000 of checks. I have the latest details on that. Student loan debt forgiveness, what you need to know about that. Fifth stimulus, also covered in today's recording. But there's a lot of breaking news as the threat of Russia invading Ukraine is growing. It was first detailed on this channel no less than a week ago. It is what we talk about, rumor and news. It impacts your wallet. Then we'll be turning to the latest details of Omicron as its inflation is impacting your pocketbook and what the Federal Reserve is doing in less than 30 days away from now for its impact on you as well. Plus, the latest details on what is going on with Bernie, Chuck, and the president. For your first stimulus recon, I'll have his new latest comments as well in today's recording. Ron Klain and why he needs to have his situation modified because he is impeding the fourth stimulus recon to getting done. And then, of course, the big push to get that big money across the board for this recon. It's a big recording. I'm live with you. We have a lot to go over with all these incredible checks of the fourth stimulus recon. The excitement starts direct from Santa Monica, and the excitement starts right here, right now, as Mornings LA gets underway. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Here we go. The recon will get passed, and the audio is back. The recon will get passed and will land in the Senate from the House as it has, and the checks across the board will be added to the $15,000 existing checks. The audio will clear up in just a second. The incredible provisions of this recon include a third stimulus across the board that will be added in there. And what you need to know is covered in today's recording, plus the incredible money that is at issue with that COLA raise of 5.9%. I have all those details and more coming up in today's recording. But first, I want you part of this incredible family. Go under this video and hit that subscribe button and be part of the incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. You're watching LA, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, live in the morning like right now and taped in the afternoons. Hit that subscribe button, like the video to 2,000 likes, and consider becoming a member of Purple Power or Calcino VIP. You want to be part of this incredible channel with a new slate of programming throughout the day. And here we go with this incredible recon. We're going to go over each of those incredible clusters of checks in this incredible recon. 3 add-ons and 3 clusters of checks. The audio will clear up in just a second. We're going to go over each of those as the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. We got a big, bold, beautiful broadcast with a lot of checks stayed at the very end. And the excitement starts right now with the first of 3 clusters and 3 add-ons of checks. And we'll start with that first cluster starting right now. But remember, the recon, the Build Back Better Act, the BBB has at least $15,000 of checks with 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Let's go over each of them starting right now. The first cluster has in there hazard pay of $4,000 of elder care. Wow, incredible, great news. That hazard pay is for my essential workers, earned income tax credit across the board. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, the $550 check for the Pell Grant recipient. Home repairs if you live in a lone community, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle as well. And there you go. The CCC extended for one more year across the board. Let's go into the first add-on of checks, and wow, it's incredible. And that first add-on of checks comes from the illustrious Bob Casey, $250 billion. This is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Wow, that is incredible. Now let's turn over to the second cluster of checks. The audio is about to clear up any second. That second cluster of checks has in their paid leave. How much does this pay? A lot. $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $35,000 annual salary, it's $800 a week. If you make $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. How many weeks? Up to 4 weeks per year. W-2, 1099, yes, you get as well. The concept of paid leaves is that you have to stay home because of sickness or illness across the board. The home repairs, incredible. This is to weatherize your home so you sustain a natural disaster, which is every time that Mitch sings on Star Search. And then we go to the incredible buttering and the toasted, the second cluster, the second add-on of checks that comes from the illustrious Maxine Waters. It's money for the purchase of your first home. She want to give you $25,000. It's a little bit less. It's incredible. It's in there as well. There you go. Let's turn it to the third cluster checks. Wow, it gets even better. And that third cluster checks, here we go. In that third cluster checks, we have in there money for the seniors and the free internet. Wow, it's incredible. Now remember, we have 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. Each of these add up to at least $15,000 of checks, but broadly brings us to a lot more money, upwards of $60,000. It's incredible. And with this third cluster of checks, let's go over these right now. In this third cluster, we have in there the incredible free internet, the big money for the farmers, the big money for the independent contractors, and then for the seniors, we have covered benefits, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. Well, not just yet, but on the House side, 2 provisions added in there, 3 covenants added, which is part of course, of what we're looking at across the board. What's important to understand is that the House got 2 provisions in there, the Medicaid gap fix and the hearing. The Senate is about to add 3 other provisions, which are dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility of Medicare, Medicaid from 65 to 55. Wow. Which is par for the course for when we talk about the third add-on of checks. And that third add-on of checks, you know what it is. It is that MSC. That MSC is incredible, and we're going to go over what it is, who gets it, the amount, the eligibility, the nuances of it, the advocacy, and the vote, and it starts right now. What is MSC? Well, MSC starts with a very, very simple concept, which is there are multiple checks as recon. We're going to differentiate these by referring to them by MSC, a multiple IRS stimulus check. That recon has about $60,000 of multiple checks in there. The MSC is a separate program where the checks are sent out by IRS. That's why the MSC stands for monthly or multiple IRS stimulus check. So, who gets it? Let's go to that detail right now. The legislators of this have told tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since spring of last year that the eligibility is the same as a third stimulus check. What does that mean? It's important to understand it right now. Single individual, $75,000 or less, get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, get it. Family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rail benefits as well, you get it additionally. The MSC is an IRS sent out stimulus check. More about the details of it after the commercial break. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as a big Mornings LA continues. We have a lot of checks this recording. Stay with me as Mornings LA continues. Be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as a big Mornings LA continues. Wow. We audio problems are continuing across the board. The incredible recon will be passed across the board, and the big money will stay in there with the Senate changes adding additional checks across the board. The big programs that have at least $15,000 of checks as the audio clears up, thank goodness. Then we turn to the incredible big money of forced third stimulus, continuing under fourth stimulus. Those details and more coming up in the second half of this video, plus student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that, and the latest details of fifth stimulus. It's all coming up, but we're going to continue with MSC in just a second. But first, I want you to go into this video and subscribe, because you're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, live and direct from Santa Monica, California. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. Let's go right back into where we left off with that MSC. Now that the audio is cleared up, we're going to go over all the incredible provisions of that MSC one at a time. Now, first, the eligibility. Who gets the MSC? Tens of thousands of viewers were told by these legislators back in the spring that the eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. You forgot it? Well, I'm going to go over it with you right now. Single individual, $75,000 less, get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, get it. Double it. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you would get it as well. If you're a family of 4, you would get it. Quadruple it. And if you're an adult dependent, you would get it additionally. How much is the MSC? We're going to go to that in a second. But first, let's go over some nuance. Is it income? It's not income. Is it taxable? It's not taxable. Is it sent out on a state-by-state basis? It is not. This is federal stimulus. This is sent out by IRS. Daily, every day, for some reason, there's always someone on Twitter, or Facebook, or Instagram says, it's not available in Arkansas. It's not available in Mississippi. This is sent out by IRS, folks. It ain't sent out by your state secretary of state or your state governor. So this is federally sent out stimulus. All right, let's go over the incredible money and how much it is. The eligibility, we just did. Now let's go over the calculation. Those legislators have told tens of thousands of viewers this channel that it's going to be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. That is your MSC, which then brings us to now that we understand who gets it, how you get it, and how much it is. We're going to go over the question that everyone asks, well, then when and how would it become law? The recon has 2 parts to it. First, let's understand what the recon is. It's called the Build Back Better Act, passed in the House of Representatives back in November. Now in the Senate. It's a body of legislation. It's also called the Forced Stimulus Recon, the social spending bill. Now, let's understand, there's egos at play. The senators, they do their body of legislation. The House, it does its body of legislation. The House of Representatives passed this incredible recon in November, sent to the Senate. But the senators, they always make changes. As we sit here right now, we do not have a Senate bill. The Senate bill has not been done. We do have a House bill. And the House bill I'm going to go over in just a second. This is how much of a House bill we have. Thousands of pages of a House bill written in 2021. All the provisions are staying in there. They may get a little bit broader or bigger with new things added. So if you hear a recording that says 2021 Forced Stimulus Update, understand everything from the House was written in 2021. It's staying in there. Anything the senators add in there is 2022 across the board. So the House passed it in November, sent it to the Senate. what would come next? What would come next is senators would send it to a subcommittee, and the Senate subcommittees would add provisions as incredible recon. The senators have already said they have a lot of provisions to add as incredible recon, whether it's Bernie, Chuck, or Liz, or Ron Wyden. They all have provisions to add in there. When the bill's done on the Senate side, they send it to a Senate floor vote, and that Senate floor vote is then followed by a 2-day vote-a-rama. So as we sit here right now, we do not have a bill. That's why it's important for you to advocate. It's important for you to advocate once a week, picking up the phone to call those honorable senators, say, I need these provisions in the recon. Whatever provision you like or provisions you like, if there are multiple of them, pick up the phone and advocate. You need to call once a week. Remind them that you need this money. Because if they don't hear from you for a week, they may think they don't need the money anymore. It's important to advocate to those legislators to tell them, I need the money. Who do you contact? Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Tell them why you need the money. Now, if you speak to a staffer, write down their name, because when you call them back the next time, ask that same staffer, say, hey, it's me again. I want to remind you, I need the money. Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Here's a couple of nuances about that, and the importance of the CR for stimulus coming up in just 10 seconds. When you speak to the staffer, do not ask, is it in there? Because we do not have it there, THERE. We don't have a Senate bill yet, so don't ask if it's in there. But can you advocate to those senators for CR for stimulus? Absolutely. Which brings us to, what is CR for stimulus? Why was it brought back on this channel? Why are viewers so really behind it once again? And what does it mean for you and your wallet? And what is it involving? We're going to go over that incredible CR for stimulus starting right now. It was a creation of this channel, unveiled in 2020, and it's back at play today. Let's go over what this means and what's at issue. We have to bring it back first to summer of 2020. In summer of 2020, we had just ended first stimulus under the Trump administration. Nancy Pelosi on behalf of the Democrats and Steve Mnuchin on behalf of the Republicans were negotiating a body of legislation potentially be called a second stimulus package. It started in summer of 2020. It continued in fall, continued in winter. It was still not done yet. And at that point, we were all getting a little bit annoyed by the situation. I specifically saw a recurring theme, which was there was no sense of urgency to get it done. So I thought, how can we get a sense of urgency at issue? And the way you can get it done, potentially, is putting into something that did have a timeline, that did have a deadline. I looked around and I found something called the Continuing Resolution Budget Bill. The federal government every few months, approximately every 4 or 6 months, has to do a Continuing Resolution Budget Bill or a version of it, CR. And what is the purpose of the bill? To fund the federal government. This is money to run the government, to run the national parks, to run the federal buildings. It's money for the federal government. And I sat back one night and I thought, well, they're not doing the second stimulus. They haven't gotten it done. We've been waiting. We've been anxious. We've been patient. Why not put a stimulus check into the Continuing Resolution Budget Bill that is due in December 2020? It had a deadline. It had a deadline. They had to do it. I said, let's run with it. So I immediately pressed record one particular day in December 2020. And I said, viewers, here's my idea. CR for stimulus. Hashtag C. Charles. Raw Roberts. The number 4, stimulus. STIMLUS. The concept is very simple. They have to do a continuing resolution budget bill. It has a deadline, a deadline they cannot miss. Now, they often extend it a few days or a few weeks, but they don't extend it months. And the deadline is December 2020. We've been waiting for months. Steve and Nancy don't have this done, the second stimulus package. Why not advocate for the inclusion of a stimulus check in this continuing resolution? In preparing for that recording, I knew what the naysayers, the negative nannies, were going to say. So I already had my answers ready. And I delivered the message on air, and viewers loved it. They said, yeah, it makes sense. We've been waiting too long. We don't see this negotiations improving between Steve and Nancy, and we don't see the second stimulus package going to a vote. Why not do it this way? And so we pushed. I asked you to push. I asked you to tweet. Hashtag CR for stimulus, and you did. And one morning we woke up, and it looked like we had won. We were told by those Democrat senators that they had put stimulus in the continuing resolution. We did it. Until we looked and we realized, oh no, they put a continuation, extension of unemployment benefits in the CR. Good, but not what we're asking for. We're asking for a stimulus check. So we pushed back again. And then they took it out. And then they put it back in. And then it stayed in there. And it became history. The $600 second stimulus check, which millions of Americans got in December 2020, put in the continuing resolution budget bill of the federal government in December 2020, was my idea, my creation, that was pushed by the purple power. Now, the minute I pressed record on the very first video of that CR for stimulus, the naysayers were ready. But I was ready for my response. The naysayers said, it doesn't belong in there. And my response was ready. I agree. It doesn't belong in there. But that doesn't mean we can't do it. Continuing resolution budget bills are to fund the federal government for its operations. It's not to send out money to the American people. It's to run the federal government. But my answer was ready, which is throughout the history of time, congressional leaders have often had bills where stuff is in the bill that doesn't belong in the bill. We saw it during the pandemic, of course. COVID relief bills where money went to the federal to foreign governments for things that had nothing to do with COVID. COVID relief bills where money went to the Department of Treasury, to the Department of Copyrights that went to build a new federal building. Nothing to do with COVID. We've seen this for decades. So I said, put it in there because while it doesn't belong in there, you've been doing things in there that don't belong for decades. People are in times of need. Get it done. And we push, and it became a law. Last Saturday, I was on air. I said, you know what? Let's do a CR for Stimulus 2020. You want to do it? And what's important to do here is make the message very similar. Do you want to do it? Jump in the live chat, I said. Send me a private message. Go on social media and tag it. And viewers said yes. Notice the similarities. It's very eerily the similar. Second stimulus negotiated from spring to December 2020 never got done. We pushed for CR stimulus to get it out there. Fourth stimulus, right now. The very first recording on the internet for fourth stimulus was this channel, tagged with the title fourth stimulus. I coined the expression because most people were still on third stimulus. I was moving forward to fourth stimulus. And while people say it was July, I think it was a lot earlier. It may have been as early as February. It's definitely as early as April. Imagine, since April 2021 to now, they haven't gotten it done, just like the second stimulus. Number two, negotiations. Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi, this time it's Joe and Joe. Weeks are going on. And now, once again, another looming deadline. In my notes over the weekend, I realized there's another looming deadline for a budget bill. And that budget bill is February. So, put the CR for stimulus back in there. The concept is very simple. Put a stimulus check in the continuing resolution budget bill, not multiple checks, not $60,000 of checks, just one check. Because we've had your back for the Build Back Better Act and get it in there right now and then do the Build Back Better Act thereafter. And there you go. Now, let's segue into some other details which are important to understand as we continue this big live broadcast of Mornings LA, continuing with the fourth stimulus itself. First, the President of the United States has new comments in the last 7 days that says the fourth stimulus recon will become law. This comes from the President's press operative, Andrew Bates, that says the fourth stimulus recon is still going to become a law. So that's very, very important. Number two, Chuck Schumer says the vote will come for the fourth stimulus any moment. That's also very important. And number three, Bernie Sanders says he likes what happened last week where votes were called on the Senate rule changes and votes were called on also the Voting Rights Initiative, and they failed. He said it helps get things moving along. I agree as well. But what is an issue that needs to be fixed to get that fourth stimulus recon out the door? The issue that needs to get fixed, which I first debuted over the weekend, and viewers have really been honed in on like Falcons or Purple Hawks, is Ron Klain. His name is spelled Klain. He's the president's chief of staff. And there's three major issues with Ron Klain in a new series of articles out. And while the first issue can be solved, the second and third are not so easy. Let's go over the details of what he is doing that is negatively impacting the fourth stimulus recon. Number one, Prioritizing. This one's easy to fix. You just come in and say, stop doing these other things. Do this one now. Do the recon now. Prioritizing starts with day one of this Biden administration. Joe Biden came in and started saying climate, climate, climate. And I said, you know what? It's almost as though you're out of touch. It's almost as if you don't care. Millions of Americans do not have food to put on their tables. And we're talking about the climate, about their roof. Well, they may not even have the roof. Why are we talking about climate? Needs to be refocused. Then, the second part of Ron Klain on misfocusing was in the provisions of the recon. Several provisions in there did not need to be broad and front and center. What's happening today? Front page news in the last 2 hours is the child tax credit. The $3,600 is now gone, expired under third stimulus. It's proposed to be brought back under fourth stimulus, but it's now gone. The messaging is horrible for the White House. Well, first of all, they haven't gotten climate done. So they went in all those climate conferences, they haven't gotten it done. And now the CTC, which they talked about as being generational, solving things for many generations to come. The articles out today say this was the focus of the White House, and now it's gone. 4 or 5 months after we first saw it. Not a good message. What's at issue? The Brian D.C.'s of the world, staffer of the White House, said, I want to focus on people who are not born yet. Really? I want to focus on young children who haven't paid taxes, who haven't worked, who haven't been contributing to the American society yet. Really? When millions of Americans who are on Social Security, on SSI and SSDI, voted for particular candidates for president based upon promises of what they're going to deliver them with SSI and SSDI reform, I have 50 to 60 pages of promises from Joe Biden during the campaign trail. None of them delivered. Then during the transition papers, saying it again, none of them delivered. Now rolling over into fifth stimulus, none of them delivered. But moreover, then hearing about unborn children before elders who have already contributed to society, bad focusing. Now, am I worried about this? No. They can refocus and reapproach the situation by prioritizing the Build Back Better Act and taking this other stuff off calendar. It's the second part that I'm worried about, and it's the personality part of the conflict. And I have new details about this today. If you're watching me on social media, watching LA on Twitter and Facebook, you saw a tidbit of this last night. What's at issue? Ron Klain has been pandering to the progressives and isolating the moderate Democrats and shutting out the Republicans throughout this administration. That ain't going to work. It ain't going to pass the recon. It won't pass anything else either. Let's understand. To pass legislation, you need the House and Senate and the President signing a law. But the problem is that the Senate does not have enough control by Democrats that you can isolate people or shut them out or go after them. You have to get everyone on board with you. It's that narrow a margin for the Senate Democrats. Well, what has Ron Klain done? According to Pramila Jayapal, progressive leader of the House, she spends hours per day on the phone with him, Ron Klain, talking about progressive policies. On the other side, moderate Democrats say they can never get him on the phone. He will not speak to them. And moreover, Joe Manchin says he is the recipient of hit pieces daily from the White House staff. This is what's bad about Joe Manchin. This is what's bad about Joe Manchin. This is what's bad about Joe Manchin. This is your own political party that you need Joe Manchin to vote in favor of a provision, and you're going after him. You're not only not answering his phone calls or reaching out to him, you're going after him. Does that work? It does not work. Number three, the president came into office saying he's going to reach along the political spectrum to reach out to his Republican colleagues. Joe Manchin doesn't even want to hear from those Republican colleagues. Excuse me, Ron Klain does not even want to hear from those Republican colleagues. So this is a very bad issue. Now, can it get fixed? It can, but it's a very big personality conflict. And for the first time today on Mornings LALATE live direct from Santa Monica, California, I want to go over one example of something that happened in the last 8 hours. You saw me on Twitter last night talking about it. And this is an example of what should not be happening. And it's a perfect segue from where we are right now in the video to going over all those incredible checks in this recon. So get your pen and paper ready because it's going to be an effortless sort of progression right into the checks. One of the very first checks I'm going to go over is the SALT cap. Under the Trump administration, you can only deduct $10,000 on your federal tax return of what you pay in state and local taxes. $10,000, folks, is not a lot of money. $10,000 of taxes is not a lot of money. If you're paying $10,000 of taxes, you may only make $80,000 a year. Joe Biden, even Bernie Sanders has said $80,000 a year for a married couple is not rich people. It's not rich people. That was a campaign statement by Joe Biden. It was a statement in the last few weeks. So, under the fourth stimulus recon, what does it propose to do? The moderate Democrats, not progressive, but the moderate Democrats got in their provision to raise a SALT cap from $10,000 to $70,000 of which $72,500 of what you can deduct on state and local taxes on the federal tax return. More especially because in certain states like New York, New Jersey, California, the tax rate is very bad. And because of it, you pay a lot more in state taxes. So they want you to be able to deduct a little bit more. Now, if you're paying $72,000 in state and local taxes, you're also not a rich person either if you're a married couple. That's just not a lot of money across the board. So what did Bernie Sanders say yesterday? This is part of the problem. As you know, I adore Bernie Sanders. I respect him. I think he's absolutely incredible. He's been a big advocate for stuff covered on this channel. But his comment yesterday was so out of bounds in so many regards. Number one, he first said the SALT cap is out. It's not out. Now, you know, for him to say that, he's basically reaching. They have not had subcommittee modifications to the recon yet. I mean, how many videos have I made about this? They've not modified the provisions of the recon. So for him to say it's been removed, it has not been removed. But let's go to more substantively than what he says. He says the SALT cap needs to be removed because it doesn't help working Americans, it only helps rich people. Well, let's first of all go over that. First, it doesn't help only rich people. In fact, helps working Americans. But let's assume he was correct. Let's assume he was correct for just purposes of argument. Then, so what? Does the provision hurt the other provisions of the recon? Does the provision hurt the progressive provisions? No. The fact that the SALT cap is in there and it's a moderate Democrat provision, it doesn't hurt Bernie Sanders' provisions. It's not like someone took away Bernie Sanders' provisions and gave it to the SALT cap. It doesn't hurt his provisions. So this is what's a problem, is that Bernie Sanders is calling a fight over a provision, which is a moderate Democrat's provision, over something that doesn't hurt his stuff. It doesn't hurt his stuff. So why is he bickering over something that doesn't hurt his stuff that doesn't hurt anything of this recon? It makes no sense. Now, if we want to do something really obvious, we could do something really obvious as a progressive platform. Certain stuff in this recon is just for really, 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 really rich people. Okay, if we want to do that type of argument, as Bernie Sanders wanted to do it yesterday, then which provision looks like that? $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Off. Now, let's make very clear. Joe Biden, and I'm not mincing my words here, I'm not playing games here, folks. Joe Biden drove around the White House grounds with two brand new GM electric vehicles that retail at nearly $100,000 and saying this provision of the recon, you get $12,500 off of it. Okay, how many viewers are buying $100,000 electric vehicles this week? I mean, that's what Bernie Sanders should be going after. That's wrong. That is clearly a very anti-progressive provision to help people buying $100,000 electric vehicles. Now, let's understand, the $12,500 does not mean the vehicle has to be $100,000. But the way that Joe Biden has written this provision, it doesn't encompass a lot of cheap electric vehicles. It encompasses only the more expensive electric vehicles. So really big issues across the board. Bottom line is Bernie Sanders should not be calling shots on something like that. And this is going back to Ron Klain's situation. The White House needs to stop these personality conflicts because if it doesn't, things are just going to keep on going on. All right, let's go over all these incredible provisions of this recon. And here we go. We just went over the SALT cap. They got in there cheaper prescription medication. 30 medications a day, 20 medications a day one, going to 30 medications a day year 2028. Medicare Part D, Medicare Part B, the most expensive medications like cancer, arthritis, diabetes, dramatically sliced and diced and reduced. They got $40 billion of free job training in there because millions of Americans may need to take a new job, including chief of staffs at White Houses. They got the Medicaid gap fix, which will provide years of subsidized insurance, medical insurance, to individuals who are uninsured people in 12 Republican states where the Republican governors vowed to never provide it. This was a provision created by the wonderful Raphael Warnock out of Georgia, and Joe Manchin was actually involved with this. They got the housing assistance. I'll be coming back to that in a second. They got the $550 check for the Pell Grant recipients. They got the nutrition, $65 per month. They got the household tax credit. And then we have those third stimulus provisions, which have now expired, of course, like the provisions of the CTC, childcare, the earned income tax credit for hazard pay. But now let's turn to the housing provisions, which are absolutely incredible. I want to go over how you can get money right now. We've been covering this for a while, but I want to go over these rounds, which are very important, starting right now. Third stimulus repeats itself under fourth stimulus. And in repeating itself under fourth stimulus, you don't need to wait for fourth stimulus to become a law, because you can get it right now under third stimulus. We're going to get some rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance as well. And what are we starting with? We're starting with day one of third stimulus. When third stimulus was announced in spring of 2021, I immediately told viewers of this channel, you can get a lot of money. $15,000, I told viewers. The viewer average was $45,000. The first round is spring of 2021. A lot of viewers got a second round last summer. Then they got a third round last month, December 2021. The latest round I'm going to show you right now, but first, what is this money? It is rent. Where do you get it? 6 places. You ready? If you're a member of this channel, pull out the newsletter. If you're not a member, go under this video right now and become a member. Click the membership link. 6 places to get this incredible money. Rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. The rent, you're going to reach out to 6 places. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage, and utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. 3 musts. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple rounds on place everywhere, and you must do multiple rounds. More about those rounds in a second. Now, the utility assistance, reach out to all utility companies, utility assistance because of COVID, then get SNAP. Department of Agriculture is money for food. You get it from them right away. Eligibility is easy on the third stimulus check, which brings us then to the rounds. What is with these rounds? So, I want you now, in watching this video this week, to get this round of money far out in the future as possible. Shoot for May 2022. Can't do May? Try April. Can't do April? Shoot for March. Go out as far as possible. And once you start with the organization you got paid from before, they say they're out of money, then lean on the nonprofits, all featured in the newsletter. What's important with the nonprofits is that they get replenished every January with benefactors, so they have a lot of money across the board. There you go. Rent, utility, mortgage assistance, that is third stimulus. Now, under fourth stimulus, they add 2 other new provisions for housing, which are purchases of your first home. Yes, this is money given to the seller in your name from the federal government at the time of escrow. And then home repairs if you live in a low-income community across the board. Someone had a very great comment last night on Twitter saying, I need these home repairs. What can I get? Under third stimulus, and I don't say it in all the videos, under third stimulus, the nonprofits do nominal home repairs like a broken window. The viewer's question, I think it came in on Twitter, was actually about broken windows. I said broken windows, they'll do broken windows. Because broken windows, you can fix a broken window. A piece of glass is, $60 and caulking is, $10. They'll do a broken window. So if you have a broken window or a furnace, you're too cold, or a portable air conditioning, you're too hot, they do that, the nonprofits. They absolutely do that. The same question came in from the same viewer was roof repairs. A $25,000 roof repair, they won't do that. But they will do these things to ensure that you're cool, warm, and safe in your home. Absolutely. Great question across the board. Which then tees us up for some other things I want to cover in this incredible recon and going forward. First, student loan debt forgiveness. The president has a $10,000 offer of student loan debt. The Democrats should take it. Fifth stimulus. We talked about this just briefly earlier in this video. Is a campaign promise, and Joe Biden is now having it loom on the horizon in a body of law called fifth stimulus. The concept is the following. Your COLA benefits went up 5.9%. Your benefits went up this month 5.9% lifetime based upon the COLA raise. But fifth stimulus looks to come in and fix that, make it better. First, they want to raise your benefits up one big time. Remove COLA with inflation. Remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty. I want to go to Vladimir Putin, the Federal Reserve, inflation, your wallet, and what you need to know as we go into this big week. A lot of details across the board. First, It was over a week ago in which I told you that there were big issues with Vladimir Putin in Russia. And I told you the issue was rumor news. Will Vladimir Putin and Russia invade Ukraine? And I told viewers of this channel over a week ago that the rumor may manifest itself in about a month. Well, it came in sooner than that. The rumor started less than 48 hours ago, and that the news will follow thereafter. What is the rumor? Whether he'll invade or not invade. What's the breaking news today? Breaking news is that Ukraine says it's not happening. Vladimir Putin says mixed words. UK believes it's happening. The United Nations believe it may happen. There's a clear threat. And the negotiations between Western countries and Vladimir Putin are going south. They're getting very bad. They're not going well. So there's a deep concern the event will happen. Now, the rumor will be with us for potentially a couple of weeks. It's not going to be a couple of days. It's not likely to be a couple of months. So the rumor will continue to impact the financial markets. Whammo, 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 bam, bam, down, 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 because it's bad news. Ukraine, oil. Russia, oil. Ukraine and Russia. Many countries involved in this conflict, not just 2 or 3. It's a very, very major conflict. So it's impacting things across the board. It will impact your price of goods absolutely more than even gasoline. Number 2, Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, announced this week that the first interest rate spike will happen in March. Well, it's not unusual now to hear that, but it's certainly earlier than many people were thinking even 6 months ago. So it impacts your wallet because everything from credit card bills to student loan debt, its debt will cost more. The interest rates will be higher. But more importantly, he needs to do this because inflation is really bad. What's at issue? This stimulus, which we talked about earlier in this video, would remove COLA and replace it with inflation. And in spring of last year, I said that inflation in December 2021, last month, would be 8%. People thought I was crazy. Federal Reserve said it was going to 2%. I said no. Federal Reserve said it was going to be temporary, transitory. I said no. It came in over about 7 days ago, and the inflation rate for December 2021 was 7.5%. I was right on the money, and it ain't temporary. Now, what I want you to do is take note of this and learn how to gauge inflation yourself for this month going forward. There's a way as a consumer to determine if there's inflation before you watch me a month from now and report the January numbers in February. Very, very easy way to do this. If you go to the market and you buy milk, eggs, or butter on a regular basis, choose one of the products, do the following. If you go to the same market, buy the same product, the same brand, the same quantity, take mental note of how much you're paying each week. So let's use the milk example. Let's say it's the milk that you're buying regularly, same brand, same market, same quantity. A gallon of milk, let's say, for example, is $3 the first week of this month. The second week of this month is $3.10. The third week is $3.20. The fourth week it's $3.50. You see what has happened? It went from $3 to $3.50 in just a few weeks. That is more than 10%. Now, consumer goods in the supermarket are not the only elements of inflation. There's a lot of elements in there. But if you see your products going up 10% in the next 30 days, you can certainly say, LA, I think inflation is just as high in January as it was in December. And I don't think it's settling down. And if it's not settling down, you will know it before I even tell it to you. This is helpful because you can gauge where things are going. There's another way to do this as well. When you're in the supermarket, or any store, I don't care what store it is, and you like to talk, ask the staff or the employee that you like to talk to, how many people are out for Omicron this week? How much the staff is out for Omicron? 20%, 30%, 40%? If they say 20% or more, then that business is suffering inflation. Why? If 20% or more of the employees are out, the employer has to cover for that by paying overtime for healthy employees or bringing in temp employees and paying more money. It's a cost of doing good, a cost of running the business, and the business will pass the costs over to you by raising the cost of goods sold. So that's the way you gauge inflation across the board. Meantime, what do you need to know about the 4 stimulus weekend and all this big sums of money? There's a lot of issues at hand. First, CR for stimulus. The CR for stimulus is a reality because there's a lot of ways to get a check into bodies of legislations other than the forced stimulus recon, the Build Back Better Act, which could be teed up before the Build Back Better Act. That's number one. Number two, Build Back Better Act will get passed as the President of the United States, but Bernie needs to stop this progressive versus moderate Democrat thing, and Ron Clay needs to stop it as well because there's no provision in here that is bad for either side. There is no progressive provision that's bad for moderate Democrats. There's no provision that's for moderate Democrats that's bad for progressives. They can add them all together. I don't know why this sort of, I don't like your provision thinking is going on. They should just add them all in there. Number three, inflation, Federal Reserve, and Russia are all going to impact your wallet. I'm going to stay on point for you throughout the day. Coming up next is noontime at 11 a.m. We have a whole slate of programming, and Afternoons LA today at 3 o'clock and Evenings LA at 5 o'clock are all brand new. Sorry for the audio early in the video. I'm trying to get back into the groove. Finally, a personal message from me to you. Personal message is the following. Today, if you look at the day on the calendar in the month of January, it was a month ago today that I was supposed to press record on another video, and I didn't. Why? Because I went to the hospital because I wasn't feeling well, and I didn't come out, and I stayed there for 3 weeks. I want to thank you, the viewer, because your incredible support and encouragement really helped me get back to how I am now, 30 days out from when I last went off camera. If you know me well, you know I've never missed a single recording with the exception of Super Bowl 2020, in which I said, I'm not going to record today. I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. And that was the only day I've never recorded ever a new video, with the exception of that time that I disappeared from you. I want to thank you because a lot of things happened and happened very quickly. And the ability that you see me now live in this condition is a true testament to your incredible encouragement. On Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock tonight, I'm going to detail more about why you were so helpful throughout this incredible process, both when I was away and also when I started to slowly come back in the mix. You saw that I messed up the audio at the start of this video. So there's still, still little things here and there. Maybe the surfboard's a little crooked. No, I think it's okay. Maybe I do know the plan is sideways, so don't send me messages. Your plan is sideways. I know it's sideways. That's sort of the look I was going for. So things are still coming around, but I appreciate all your love and support. Join me next at noontime LA. We have a lot of fun because it's home streams. It's home at 11 a.m. and then we're back with a whole slate of programming. We may have a crypto show meantime in between as well. And with that, I want you to proud incredible family and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, fastest growing channel, and the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. You're watching, it's LA. Tell your friends and neighbors coming over. Thank you for all the incredible subscriber growth in recent days. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing. I'm back, you're back, and the bacon's still missing. And this is LA.